Welcome. This is Cooper with FedRetirementPlanning.com, and today I'm going to talk about a question that I get quite often and one that I just received regarding withdrawals. The question essentially was, when can I withdraw my TSP? So I'm going to go over when you can withdraw it, why you would withdraw it, and some of the implications that go into actually withdrawing your TSP. Okay, so there's essentially 3 times that you can withdraw your TSP, and some of them have, I guess, some caveats and some of them don't. The first one is you can make a financial hardship withdrawal. Now, a financial hardship withdrawal has to meet some criteria. First of all, it has to be over $1,000. Okay, so you can't be any less than $1,000. So if you just wanted to take some money out to buy some bubble gum, you can't do that. The next one is it has to be for medical expenses. Okay, that's one of the options. It doesn't necessarily have to be for medical expenses. It just has to meet one of these criteria. So it either has to be for medical expenses, it could be for personal casualty losses, but only ones that aren't paid yet. So let's say that you weren't covered by insurance and you need to pay for, that personal casualty loss. Then you can take a financial hardship withdrawal. Or the next one is legal expenses. And this is legal expenses for a specific purpose. And those are for separation from like a divorce or from your spouse. Okay, so it has to be for one of those areas and it has to be over $1,000. Now, you can't just, take out everything in your account. You can only take out your contributions. Okay, and you can't just file this all the time either. It has to be within 6 months. So you can only do it every 6 months. And I've heard of some people gaming the system. Unfortunately, what I found is you can say that you had these legal fees, or you had some pay for a casualty loss, things like that, and you can write that on the form, and most likely they're not going to follow up with you. So it's kind of on the honor system. I would suggest, as in anything, be ethical and don't do that. But they, what I found is they typically don't check it, and a lot of people, at least I've read online, have gamed it that way, which is something that I think, something you shouldn't do. So don't do that. The next one is what's known as an age-based in-service withdrawal request, and this is something that a lot of people are excited about. So whenever you turn 59 and a half, you can begin taking withdrawals without any of the 10% penalty, okay? And you can take a withdrawal of your whole account, you can take a partial withdrawal, you can transfer it to an IRA. There's numerous options that you can do when you turn 59 and a half. Remember though, through the TSP, you're only allowed 1 partial withdrawal and 1 full withdrawal, okay? So don't go crazy when you turn 59 and a half. However, you can transfer it over to an IRA where you're gonna have more control over it and typically better withdrawal options. Now, the final option you have is when you leave federal service. So this isn't just when you retire. Let's say that you put in 10 years of working at the Postal Service and decided that you no longer wanted to work for the federal government and you wanted to work for a private corporation. Well, at that point, you can take your TSP out and move it into your own IRA. Now, that doesn't mean you can start taking withdrawals without any penalties, because you still have to meet that 59.5-year-old age. Otherwise, you're going to be hit with a 10% penalty from the IRS. Okay, so be aware of that. But whenever you leave federal service, you can, or whenever you leave federal service with sufficient amount of years, you can begin taking your partial and full withdrawals. Now, one additional caveat for those that are over 55 and retiring, generally you're allowed to remove your TSP at that time. So if you retire after you've reached that age of 55, you can take that partial withdrawal or start taking your full withdrawal or transfer it over. Now, I say generally because that's not always the case, but for the majority of people it is. Okay, so that's just another way that you can, begin withdrawing your TSP if you met that requirement. But this has been Cooper with FedRetirementPlanning.com. This is the Fed Weekly Retirement Question, Fed Retirement Weekly Question. Keep them coming. If you have any questions on this, leave it in the bio below. I'd love it if you shared it, liked it, and see you in the future.